one tarot scope, forecast, whatever you want to call it, but it all has to boil down to free will and the notes that you resonate with. Okay, hello, my darling. This is Val with Eternal Transformations Tarot. This is Mandy Pants, my darling. I'm doing this video live because I reached a block when I hit my air signs. And I kept trying to discover what this block was. I will not be reading the comments on here live, but I always go back and read them later. But this block that I hit, that usually the way I get out of my blocks is by getting authentic. So I thought, okay, I'm having a hard time getting through these air signs, and nothing to do with you. Please don't take that as a blame on air, right? But my block, I discovered within myself, is the high expectations. Air signs, when you break it up into earth, air, fire, water, air signs are my most popular following. And you don't set, please understand me here, you don't set an expectation. You guys are amazing, wonderful, but having it be more popular sets an expectation for, I have to be better. I have to make it better than last time. Because I have this constant fear that I'm not going to be as good. Like that I have this like weird fear I've reached my peak. And this a little bit, it kind of comes into the channeling that's coming in for Gemini. So first of all, my blocks are my own, but I feel that by being authentic about my blocks, that you will somehow be able to look at that within your own life as a mirror and say, ooh, where am I doing that? I'm hoping that by being authentic about what's blocking me and my self-destructive walls that I put up, right? I feel like Gemini, you guys have told a story, to yourself for some of you, okay? Now, here's what's interesting. I was shuffling all the decks, and here's what we're going to do today. We're going to pull one mystical shaman card to see what shaman is walking with you in 2021. We're going to pull 4 of the numerology cards for each season, and then we're going to clarify under each season, winter, summer, fall, spring, and I don't know why I said it in that order, weird. And then we're going to clarify under each one with the vice versa tarot, okay, which has actually, when I shuffled each one of these for Gemini, I was talking about those walls that you put up, right? Subconsciously put up. And it's not that you don't see the walls. You know they're there. But taking them down is a whole different story, right? And that's kind of the basis of the channeling I'm getting for you right now, Gemini. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Please watch all 3 so that you can get a full personal message for yourself. You take the notes that resonate with each one, and I highly suggest that you do take notes, that you journal while you're watching these videos and saying, you know what, maybe only 3 words stuck out to me, maybe only 1 sentence, maybe only 1 card, whatever it is, what stuck out to you. And if you do that for each one and you look at the whole of that, you will get a completely personal message for yourself. Now, what's interesting is when I was shuffling the final deck, the clarifying deck, the vice versa tarot, I realized there were 5 cards that were stuck in it from a different deck. That doesn't happen to me often. It's happened before, but whenever that happens, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as, wow, speaking very specific here. This is more specificity. This is more detail, right? So when I look at these 5 cards, I'm seeing very much a person who wants to manifest, and they are stuck in this position. It's kind of like I'm getting that song in my head, stuck in the middle with you, right? It's like you're stuck in the middle of manifesting your old story and manifesting the impossible, manifesting the unknowable, right? And there is an old story that has been told to you and that has happened to you. And in that way, we can very much become stuck in the story of scarcity. I mean, if any human, no matter where you grew up or what your race is or what your gender is, any human being, if you define your life on the bad things that happen to you, the story will project out into your life ahead. Yet if you define your life by the good things that happen to you, that story will project itself out in the life ahead. It did not happen to me, but for me, right? Seeing these downfalls as a lesson rather than the victimhood that wants to pull you down. And believe me, I am there with you. I have so much Gemini in my chart. And I think a lot of the reason I have build up self-destructive, I have a hard time this cycle getting into the air is because we're stepping into Aquarius season. I have heavy Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius in my chart, probably more so than any other sign. But also look at this, Odin, right? This is the Hanged Man. This is being stuck, but with free will. I choose to sit still. I choose to be stuck for a moment, to really look at what's going on. We can tell that he chose this by the look on his face. We can tell by the enlightenment surrounding his brain. This very much is representative of Odin hanging from a tree for 9 days for the knowledge of the gods, the knowledge of the runes, right? Without food or water. He cut out his eye for wisdom, and he made sacrifices for knowledge and wisdom. And that's what we don't understand. And when I say we, I mean that in the most respectful sense. We don't understand that these things that happen to us were the sacrifices made for more knowledge and wisdom. So before you came here into this current incarnation, perhaps you decided to live a life that would entail more sacrifice. Whether that would be physical sacrifice. For my beautiful sister out there, Muj Göturk, who is a beautiful singer. She lives in Turkey. She's even been on the Turkish American Idol. She's fabulous. Go check out her channel, Muj Göturk, M-U-G-E, Göturk. And she has had to suffer through severe fibromyalgia as a hardcore Gemini. I mean, this girl's all the way Gemini. And she's had to suffer through this. This was not through what she can, I would assume, what she considers. I didn't choose this illness. I didn't choose this, not on an egoic sense. But perhaps she did, in another life, decide to go through severe limitations with the ingrainment of raw talent. She has this amazing talent that she cannot always share with the world because sometimes her pain is crippling. That's just one instance. Okay? That's just one instance of the story that may have been told to us for not only this lifetime, but lifetimes before that. And how it affects not only your present, and that's all that matters, is the current, here, now, present, but how it affects your entire future. Because living in the limitations of the past completely cuts out the present and moves straight into fear of the future. When are you ever in the present? Okay? If you are living in scarcity, the universes deal with you. And believe me, you guys, I don't have the money to pay my bills. I right now have an enormous toothache, and it's turning into an infection. I even have like a little swelling. You can see my lymph node right here. And this whole side of my face hurts. And at night, it tends to throb worse. And I don't have dental insurance because where I live, this is not a priority. I'm not sure if that's different in different countries, but where I live, dental insurance is not considered a priority. You have to pay for that. And I simply have not had the extra money to do so. When I look back at it, I can see where I could have made the extra $30 to $50 a month to take care of what I'm dealing with right now. But if I want to go directly into the dentist and have this pulled, it's going to be between $200 and $300 that I just simply don't have, you know? And whenever I look at how I could have handled that, of course, hindsight 2020, I look at that story. I'm telling myself, like, I'm also looking at the story that we are telling ourselves as individual about what is important, what's truly important. That's whenever you can attack this scarcity mindset. What is really important? Am I pain free in my mouth? Do I have clean clothes? Do I have an ability to have clean clothes? Whether or not that's within your own home, or if you go to a laundromat and you have the money to wash your clothes. Do you have the ability to have food in your belly? I mean, this is not available to everyone. Do you have clean water? Clean enough to drink? Some people don't have that. Some people have to walk miles to go get to clean water and bring that back into themselves. That is how to get yourself out of the mindset of scarcity rather than comparing what you have in your life to everyone else, right? Okay, beautiful. Muse, I hope you were here when I called you out earlier, darling. I think you just missed it, but I talked about you. I'm not supposed to be talking about the comments, but I saw Muse pop up on here. If you go to the live comments and you see her, you can go to her channel and check her out. Fabulous Gemini who has an ingrained God-given talent within her in her ability to perform art through her voice, but has also been struck down with fibromyalgia, a very difficult illness to not only diagnose, but to treat. It's something that we need more education in our world about, okay? And I very much suggest you go follow her. She's fantastic. Her songs, the way that she sings and projects her own individuality into songs I've heard before. You know, that's what I love. Into songs I've heard before, but with more, or maybe because I have a kindred spirit with her, an emotion is pulled up in me. I've cried so many times watching her sing. I love watching you sing with LP. She introduced me to LP, not personally, but as a singer. Like, I'd never heard of her before. And when I went and watched LP, life-changing music came out in their music that spoke to me individually. So she's been a part of the Soul Tribe for years now, and I respect her at a very high level. She doesn't feel sorry for herself. I respect that. Spirit, for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, everyone take a big old deep belly breath. Through the belly, not the chest, y'all. This enacts fight or flight mode. That's why your body's built. Up the spine, out the crown chakra. One more time for my Geminis, because you guys are air. Big old deep belly breath. Up the spine, out the crown chakra. Release all expectations of this reading so that they can blow your mind. Spirit, for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, please go watch your Sun, Moon, Rising for a personal message. Gemini, of course, this is going to be more geared toward my Gemini sons, but if you resonate more with your moon like I do right now, I'm 38 years old, going on 39 this year, and I resonate more with my moon now. Ever since I turned 38, I've been resonating with my moon sign more, which is Cancer, but I'm a Virgo sun. Whatever you're resonating with, this is going to hopefully speak to you. Spirit, what shaman is walking with Gemini 2021? 2021, what shaman is walking with Gemini? Ooh, you got two shamans walking with you. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you remember earlier in the very beginning of the video, I said I had that song in my head, stuck in the middle with you. And that's kind of how you are. You're in the middle. You're in this middle world. How beautiful. This is a shaman walking with you in 2021. Also beautiful numerology of 36. I always have to check it because it's reversed in my camera angle. So I'm like, is it 63? Look at that. I just spoke about this, stuck in the middle with you. But the thing is, this stuck in the middle part is the story that you have been told by society, by your family, preconceived notions, that story, and stepping into, oh, what am I really? stuck in the middle with me. Stuck in the middle with me. You're stuck in the middle. You're stuck. These cards came and got shook. I don't know how they got mixed up with this deck because they're all separated. They're all in their place. But somehow Spirit wanted to do this, and Spirit wanted to go live today and say, look, you're stuck. That's okay. Recognize that you're stuck. Recognize that you're stuck. This is a beautiful card. Don't worry. Don't worry. This is actually a very beautiful message. I can't wait to read a little bit of this to you. Very positive message. Okay, 36. I always have that fear. You see me look up. Where's my glasses, y'all? Where's my glasses? Okay. Beautiful. Okay, the essence of this card, stuck in the middle. I'm sorry, it's called Middle World. Okay. It says, the invitation here, I'm just going to read the invitation, okay? The middle world shows up when conditions are favorable to your undertaking. Do not hesitate. Move forward, as heaven and earth are smiling upon you now. The time is right. And think about that. Heaven and earth are smiling upon you now. You're that middle point between heaven and earth, right? The time is right, so be expedient, but be mindful, not reckless. The world is your playground, and what would require great effort at any other time can be accomplished with ease now. What would require great effort at any other time, right, to get out of these situations can be accomplished with ease now because the energy of your perception is changing. You understand? Okay. You also got Luminous Warrior. Luminous Warrior. Again, I'm just going to read the invitation. I don't want to, and this is 32. So yeah, powerful numerology here. 32 is also a 5, which is intense change in a good way, especially with Luminous Warrior coming out. Luminous Warrior. The invitation. The Luminous Warrior reminds you it is important to focus on your power, your wisdom, and beauty. Do not be seduced by what seems wrong with you or within the world. Remember that intention follows attention. Remember that what you are intending follows what you are paying attention to. Intention, manifestation, follows attention. What are you paying attention to? It's not when you are consistent, I feel like a record that's getting skipped. When you are consistently manifesting greater wealth, yet consistently in an attention mindset of scarcity. I'm not going to have, you go to bed every night thinking about the bills. You go to bed every night thinking about your unfulfilled dreams. When you're in a position where you are, and it's great to have set intentions even when you don't believe in them, but if you don't believe in them, they have so little power underneath them. When you believe that those intentions are already on their way to you, they are exponentially, the energy itself, the manifestation energy is exponentially lifted. And the power that comes from that, there are no words for. Okay? It says, remember that intention follows attention, so focus on your positive traits. Feed your light with more light until you feel truly empowered. Then there will be little need for action as you resolve all situations from within. This is the exact thing that I'm talking about when I say you can truly be done with tower moments, with those moments that bring you down, shake your core, because it was never meant to serve you. When you are truly in line with your vortex and with the energies around you, and understanding that life is neither is it meant to be perfect or consistently blissful, but it is meant to have ups and downs and changes. When you can see the beauty in that and focus your attention on the gratefulness of the lessons coming through, how so many other people never even get to experience the depth of scarcity that you have. That in itself is a blessing. And I know that's really hard to see and hard to hear from a certain standpoint of being in that current scarcity moment. I know how difficult that can be. But when you remove yourself from that situation and you truly look at the lessons that are being brought to you, the lessons that are being brought to you, they must love you. As a parent, when you see it, even not as a parent, as an adult in general, a teacher, when a teacher sees potential in a child, they're harder on them. They give them more to work with. They give them more challenges. That's why we have AP classes and classes for children who do worse learning things they already know and do better being challenged. That's the human standard in general. Understand that if you are being challenged heavily, you're in an AP class. You are in a higher level course for humanity because you have desired that. You don't do well in comfortable. You don't do well without being challenged. You understand, Gemini? Okay. First card out for spring. For spring, moderation, 14. Also a 5, change and challenge. Moderation in all things. Moderation in all things. Spirit, I'm going to pull all 4 seasons and then we'll clarify. Spirit, for summer, please. For summer, for Gemini. For summer, for Gemini. There it is. I felt it buzz. Another green, perseverance. Moving from moderation into perseverance. 4, beautiful. So after this intense seasonal change of 5, then we're going to move into perseverance of 4, which is stability, moving from change into, and whenever you change something and have a tower moment, you get rid of the rubble that no longer serves you, right? Spirit for fall, please. I love that they're both green. That's pretty cool. Spirit for 5, please. I'm sorry, for 5. Spirit for fall, please. For fall. For Gemini. Love. Moving into love. This is going to come into your life in many different ways, and it's going to depend on your exact circumstance. But when you boil the energy down, love is the blessing, the healing after intense seeing where you need to moderate yourself, seeing that, stepping into the perseverance that it takes to get that moderation, that back into balance. And then spirit comes in with love and blessings for you. Okay. We have a 4, 5, and a 6. Okay, spirit for winter. If they're moving along this track in the path of free will, which is universal law, spiritual partnership. So for my singletons out there, I would say very much that love is absolutely going to be something coming into your life this year. Love in the traditional sense, but it may be, if you're in a relationship, making a best friend and you never really had a connection like this, a soul connection like this, right? But none of this can happen unless you go through this moderation and really do a hard look at yourself and the story that you've been telling yourself. Because when moderation comes out, I'm very much feeling that this spring is going to be about you saying, it's almost like you see where your self-destructive cores are. For some of you out there, you see these self-destructive cores, and you see this cycle that has repeated itself in multifaceted ways. I'm seeing in multifaceted ways. However, as you, for the first time in your life this year, you're going to be stepping into, what can I do to prevent this cycle from occurring again? Not to stop it in its tracks, not to go through that tower moment again. How do I prevent it on the other side? I'm hearing, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? You're not trying to cure it. You're trying to prevent it from ever happening in the first place. And then that's where perseverance is going to step in, where you have to make radical life changes. Small things like before you go to bed, saying prayers and having gratitude in your heart. When you wake up, setting intentions and having gratitude in your heart, right? And persevering through, even when you don't necessarily always feel that gratitude, intending that gratitude to come up anyway, right? And then here comes Spirit with love for you. When you do that, you open the doors for love in ways you could never expect to flow into. You're cleaning the mud off the flashlight. You're cleaning the mud off the flashlight, and then stepping into spiritual partnerships. Someone, and notice that this is a 27, also a 9. Someone who is completely in line with you and has also been through the moderation, the perseverance, and can appreciate the shoes that you have walked in. Someone who you have a spiritual connection with, moving from this middle world into, remember, going back to the luminous warrior. So let's clarify these for spring and moderation, Spirit. At the end of this reading, we'll pull one Isis card. These are more powerful, and so I usually save those for an individual card at the end of the reading, or sometimes I pull it before for the 2021. We're going to be pulling it after. For moderation, we have the scales of balance coming out. Justice. Moderation. Notice how justice is blinded. She only knows that truth is truth, that right is right, right? There are no gray areas for her normally. It is the scales of justice. She has Isis sitting over her. You know, I think it's interesting. I think this is one that it's good to turn around and see the other perspective, because we see here, whenever we are not true with ourselves and how powerful we are, and that our free will is what creates our own destiny. When we are not truthful about that and we step into victimization, right? We see here the scales of balance have dropped. We see the butterfly of transformation saying, oh no, we have to transform, but this sword of truth is buried in the ground. Are you being honest with yourself? Are you being honest with yourself about the story that has been told to you? For justice is coming through and saying moderation is a key factor here. And moderation is something that they want you to look at in this early spring. And whatever that means for you, right? We can take this down to a 3D level of, are you numbing? Are you drinking or doing drugs? Or any kind of, all of those things are fine in moderation, right? But when you're drinking because you can't feel and you're drinking to feel, we need to look at the root of that. When you are smoking pot in order to not feel, right? Then we need to look at the root of that. There are these certain things when are you eating your feelings? Are you overeating? Because it makes you feel something that's something akin to solace, something akin to comfort, right? What are those feelings? And what do you need to moderate on? I have had a point in my life where I overread. I was reading so much at an obsessive level, I was missing out on life. And at this time, I was a single mother, so there wasn't much else to do. I didn't get to go out and party every Friday night, although I did get more chances than others. I had a great babysitter. But what I'm saying is that I got to a point where I overread. I loved playing online poker for a while, not for real money, like for on a gaming system, but with real people all over the world. And I enjoyed doing that, but I got obsessed with it because in my Virgo mind, it just shut me down. So I didn't have to feel anything. I didn't have to think about anything, right? Next out, we have 7 of the Chariot. We have 7, the Chariot, in the other side. I don't like saying reverse or negative. It sounds so negative. But we have the Chariot, and here we see it's like you're moving forward, because the Chariot stands for moving forward, vastly moving forward after an intense and long period of struggle, right? You almost feel on top of the world at this point because it's been really hard. Whatever was happening back here in these hills and mountains, they represent in the tarot challenges, these intense hills and mountains, right? And moving forward after that. But we see here, look at the perspection. We see here, he was chained and now he's broken those chains. So if someone out there has broken their chains, I'm feeling of perspection and the story, the victimology that they've told them, that they have been told and therefore told themselves. And look at how the road's falling away behind him into the universe. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. Once seen, it cannot be unseen, right? We see also that the dawn is rising on a whole new day, right? We see the dawn rising. He's moving into the dawn of an entire new life, an entire new day. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. Next card out. Again, this is all about perspection. We see here the Five of Cups. We see here that he is down on one knee. These things did not, he did not make these things happen. Okay, whether or not he did is not the point. They happened. They happened. And this is about not realizing, yeah, it did happen. But look, I've still got opportunity behind me. I've still got two full cups. I still have a bridge going over into a new path. We turn this card around. This is the vantage point you got it from. Okay, this is technically the reverse side of this, but it's the more positive side. That's what I mean. I don't like, it's about perspective and where you're at. So even though this is the reverse side, it's more positive. We notice here that it looks like he's standing up. Whether or not he is, it's about perspection. It looks like he's starting to stand up. Yeah, he sees this, but there's something new growing behind him because of that one instance, that one moment when he recognized it, right? When he recognized it. Perseverance. Perseverance. This will be for summer. Perseverance. So recognizing that moderation is necessary in one point in your life, and that it is going to take some work, some perseverance if you want to be in a whole different place next year this time, right? Spirit, for perseverance. For Gemini, please. For perseverance, 2021. For the summer of 2021. Thank you. One more, please. We had two cards come out there. We had the Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Ace of Pentacles upright. Beautiful. I'm saying reverse and upright now because it's just easier. But I want you to understand it's a different perspective. Okay? That doesn't mean positive or negative. Spirit, one more card, please. It's funny because in this deck, there are two aces, and it keeps wanting to come out to clarify itself. This deck came with two aces. I've never seen that before. Two aces of pentacles. There are 78 cards in this deck. In this deck, there's 79 because there are two aces of pentacles, and they both wanted to come out under perseverance. So for many of you, I'm seeing, oh, this is an old dream. This is an old dream. And how beautiful is this dream? Okay, now we're also talking about summer here. So this may come to fruition in August because this is an 8. But what I really want to get at is when we look at the perspective of the upright side, we see that this tree has been growing. They built their house around this tree, right? This tree's growing in the middle of their house. They built their house around this tree. And every generation, this doesn't happen in a few months. This tree has grown over a long period of time, and every generation has input their own piece into this history, right, of what they've created. Now we look over here, that tree is no longer there. We also see a child standing there. Now this can be taken in a different, it depends on how it's resonating with you, right? Is this your child looking at you? What are you creating and what are you teaching your child? Or is this your inner child? And both, it could be both. Is this your inner child looking at you and saying, we had so many dreams. What are you doing? Because we see here, the pentacles are translucent. They're not corporeal, right? You can't grab onto them. Yet here we see, even though these pentacles are old and they were put in long before his lifetime, they're very corporeal. They're very much a part of his inheritance, of what he's inherited. And I don't mean that in a monetary way, even though it could be for you. What I mean that in is the gifts, the wisdom, the teachings that have been taught to you over and over, but also that story that's been told to you. Take what serves you, create what is meant for you, because there is something worth creation out there. This is God handing you an entirely new opportunity, coming out double time to say 2 aces, baby, if you persevere. Okay, this is very much about the story you're telling yourself and how much you believe in yourself. What story are you telling yourself? What story are you telling yourself? Has your family lived a legacy of scarcity, and do you believe that that's on the table for you? Or are you willing to break that cycle? Because they are saying this cycle is meant to be broken. Whatever this lack of belief, have perseverance in your dream, whatever it is. Even if your dream looks very different than that of those that came before you. I'm a tarot reader now, and I grew up in the Bible Belt. Very much so. Very much so in the Bible Belt. I've lost family members over the fact that I'm following my own dream. Yet I also feel that I have gotten ancestral teachings, wisdom, and gifts from my family, which is why I'm doing exactly what I'm doing now. They just don't like the cover that it's under, right? Love for the fall. Love for the fall. Remember that these are going to be an order of free will, and as you step into them, that will be the focus of that time period. For the fall, love. For the fall, love, please. For Gemini 2021, for the fall. Losing my voice. Yeah, I tried to make this Gemini video. Wow, well, I guess we're keeping it. Page of Cups. I've been trying to make this Gemini video. I've probably got on and off 8 times now. And I thought, if I go live, I can't do that. So I just got on here and did it. 10 of Cups. Another one, please, for love, for Gemini. For Gemini, for love. Ace of Wands. Beautiful. Beautiful. So what I'm seeing here for love in the fall, as you step into perseverance, moderation, you're going to develop a self-worth like you've never had before. You're gonna develop a self-worth like you've never had before. And as you come into falling in love with yourself again, there will be others that finally see you the way you're meant to be seen. Okay, Page of Cups brings love in a fresh new way. Page of Cups sees beauty where others cannot, because others are clouded by judgment. Page of Cups sees like a child sees. They are colorblind. They don't have preconceived notions and judgments. They are very honest and truthful in the love that they show for you. Okay, and as you step into this as yourself, right? And I mean this, as you step into this as yourself and seeing yourself with kind and fresh eyes, without that old story, of scarcity, you are going to start shining at a new vibration where people will be drawn and attracted to you. For some of you, this may already be happening, I'm hearing. And very confusing, because it may not have been something that has been a consistent in your life. And in fact, I feel like some of you have been judged harshly. I'll say right now, Geminis are the most incorrectly, in my experience, incorrectly spoken about horoscope. People call them two-faced. People say Geminis are two-faced, or they'll, whatever that is. Geminis have an incredible ability to see a human soul and what it needs. And they can chameleonize themselves to bring out the best in that person. Now, of course, like any other sign out there, this can be taken to the extremes either way. But they have this beautiful ability to chameleonize themselves and make that person feel so much more comfortable with who they are. They have an ability to share beauty with people of many different cultures, many different varieties, many different skin colors, genders. It doesn't matter for a Gemini. Gemini, with Aquarius running a close second, Gemini is one of the most colorblind. They truly don't judge people on what they look like, what their gender is, and what they've been through in life. Geminis find the best in every type of person. Stranger, they don't believe in prejudgments. They believe in chameleonizing themselves to understand the shoes that person's walked in. And that's what people don't understand about Gemini. They are the most open-minded of all of the horoscopes. Yet, because they are able to chameleonize themselves, and of course there are certain, I'm sure, Geminis who have taken this to a negative route where they have this ability and they use it for a personal agenda. I'm sure that's occurred, but it is not I mean, it is so far from the rule of thumb when it comes to Geminis, because from my experience in reading for hundreds, if not thousands of Geminis, is that they truly want the best outcome for all. And of course, they have a natural, what's the best situation for me in their own situations, but they chameleonize themselves not to, what's the word, manipulate. That's never the goal for them. They're not trying to manipulate anyone. They're trying to create an atmosphere where that person can be themselves, and they can have an opportunity just for a moment. Gemini gets off on walking in other people's shoes. They love it. They love hearing your experience and taking that in them, and they have an ability to really feel and see that in a way that most other signs don't. So if you have strong Gemini in your chart, take pride in this. Re-educate people. If you're in the horoscope world, re-educate people. But what I'm seeing here coming in with love is an honest, very open disclosure, very bearing my heart to you exposure of love. This person right here is going to be like a child when they come to you in their love, because they're going to trust you. Okay, they're going to trust you with their feelings, and they're going to trust you with their vulnerability. Okay, this is going to bring out the vulnerability in you. Okay, now this may be you or them. One of you is going to come forth very vulnerable. I don't talk about love often in my readings, but it's coming out now, so I'd pay special attention for those of you who are specifically resonating with this, okay? It doesn't come out often. So when this comes out, it's going to surprise you both, okay? One of you is going to open up vulnerably, and it's going to surprise you in the reaction you have to it, and it's going to surprise them and their ability to be vulnerable, but feel okay about that. It's going to be this moment of like, oh, not only is this okay, this is kind of amazing to be in our scarcity together, to be in our vulnerability together, because you've been through this, right? And then we see here the Ten of Cups. This is what, when someone's looking for love in their life, this is the ultimate card they're looking for. This and the Ace of Cups, it's the ultimate card they're looking for, right? This is showing absolute happiness. We see these two people on the beach. We see the rainbow. What does a rainbow represent? It represents freedom. It represents solace after a storm, right? Very much going back to this chariot over here, right? There's no turning back. Once you've seen, you cannot unsee. You've been through something serious, and it's not just you, it's them too. It's not just them, it's you too. We see they both have raggedy ass clothes on, okay? But we also see those 10 cups full on the ground. Beautiful. Beautiful. We see it's almost like they couldn't have found each other unless they went through this intense darkness. It's almost like it's because of that the vulnerability was able to make itself present, that they were able to get on the right frequency to even find each other, right? And I do feel like for many of you, this is either going to be a new person or a new perspective in your current relationship, okay? Because after that, we get this Ace of Wands in this perspective where, okay, so this would be considered upright. However, in the book, because she's the same as me, she doesn't like saying upright and reverse because it sounds like positive, negative. She says this side, the other side. She calls this the other side. So in the other side here, we see the lightning striking. These cards I read intuitively. This card may mean one thing at one point, and it may mean something totally different at another point. I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling here. I am feeling like this in the fall could not have happened unless you, by free will, stepped into the moderation, said, I am stuck, reached your hands up, surrendered, said, God help me, okay? Whatever that God is for you, universe help me, okay? Then stepping into the perseverance of changing your daily thoughts and routines. If you are going through every day in a constant feeling of victimhood and scarcity, you are attracting into your life victimhood and scarcity. When you go through this perseverance, they're saying it almost always had to happen this way. With that lightning crashing, it was always, my love, about divine timing for you and for them. Okay, this person very much may be a water sign, given that we had Page of Cups come out here, but please remember, this general reading is for thousands. And what I want you to really remember is they're going to take on the attributes of this person. They are going to have a childlike wonder at the vulnerability and love. And it's like you're going to connect with this soul in a way that it almost, by the end of it, when you get here, it always had to be that way. And it suddenly makes you so appreciative for every single thing that has happened for you and not to you, right? Finally, moving from that love, it's like I feel this fresh awakening and vulnerability that's pretty beautiful. Scary. I feel scary, but beautiful. Spiritual partnership. Something that many of you have never gotten to experience on the level I want you to experience it. Absolute wanting the best for all, not just looking inward at your own situation and your own family and yourself, but looking outwards at how can we, whenever you have this, you want everyone to have it. You want everyone to have that experience of what it's like to really have a teammate. And then you realize we can all be this way. We can all have each other's backs. We don't have to live this way in this divisive culture anymore, right? Spirit, for spiritual partnership, please. For Gemini 2021, winter. So this is what's coming around at the end of next year. So this year for you, yeah, I do see some work in moderation and perseverance. But look, if you step into these, how it turns out, love and into spiritual partnership. You've seen the story. It's beautiful. The growth that's available to you this year, right? Available. This is not, I'm not telling your future. I'm only telling you what's available to you if you step into it. Spiritual partnership, Queen of Wands coming out first. Okay, we're going to talk about it. Don't worry. We're going to talk about it. What else, Spirit? For spiritual partnership. Whenever I picked up the deck, I had Six of Pentacles on one side and Six of Wands on the other. I just want to say those are both about balance. And that's something that you're going to learn this year, is that true balance and understanding that whoever this love of your life is, they've been through what you've been through. And you're both coming in with your own stories. It's not the fact that you recognize that about yourself. It's that you recognize that about them. That they have the honor and respect of having their own stories of abuse and scarcity and understanding that that was affected by their parents before them, the ancestral ties of that, and walking into that with the openness I'm feeling, and the vulnerability of really walking into it like a child, if you can, without judgment. I'm hearing without judgment. This person's, yeah, there's that. They keep wanting me to look at the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so we'll keep that. And I know what they're trying to say there. Spirit, what else for this spiritual partnership for Gemini 2021? For spiritual partnership, Gemini 2021. Felt something buzz, but didn't want to make appearance. Spiritual partnership 2021. Even seeing the cards out of my peripheral vision, I feel like my ego starts affecting what's going to come out. So I like not looking. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we have here Queen of Wands in the upright position, right? We turn this around. She's taking a break. She's looking up to Isis. But we see here, you've been through it, baby. Okay, in this spiritual partnership, they are going to see you this way, male or female, okay? It doesn't matter, but I'm going to talk to this queen in the form of a female, okay, because it's easier for me. So we see here that she has just got done with battle. We can see that she's still bandaged up, so her wounds have not even fully healed. Do you recognize that about yourself? You may think that your wounds have fully healed, but are you okay if they haven't? That's the only question. Are you okay if they are not fully healed? Okay? In the traditional tarot, I think it's the most important. This is the big disappointment for me that they did not show this. And I don't know if it's due to ignorance or disagreement with my belief. But I think that the most important thing to recognize about the Queen of Wands is that in the traditional tarot, she sits with her legs apart. She's the only queen which does so. Okay, it very much represents her confidence in her own sexuality. She does not have shame or guilt or have a story behind that. Whoever she is and what she has experienced, she has evaluated it within herself, but she doesn't have shame over it. Okay, it may have changed the way she goes forward, right? We've all, well, maybe not all, but I've had crazy nights with a fellow or two, and I was like, that was not wise thinking. Okay. And I've changed the way I've gone forward, but that doesn't mean I have shame over it. I made a mistake, or in my view, I made a mistake, and I'm not going to continue that behavior going forward. Right. Now, the spiritual partnership part of this is really wanting you to see that when you completely are vulnerable with a person and let them see all your boo-boos and all your mistakes or what you consider to be mistakes, and you my mom always said, keep your knees closed and your panties up, right? But when you're able to sit with your legs apart and be confident within your sexuality, and I don't mean that on a physical level, it's just a representation. But when you're able to be confident in your sexuality and the fact that you've made mistakes, but guess what? The only person that's allowed to judge those mistakes is you and God. You know what I mean? No one else is allowed to judge them. They can judge them, I guess, all they want, but it really should have no effect on your life. When you meet this person, they're going to make you feel proud of those things. They're going to be intrigued that you've made mistakes because they see you as almost perfect. They love your vulnerability. Your vulnerability is what makes them fall in love with you. Nothing to be ashamed of to share with them is what I'm feeling in the spiritual partnership. I'm also seeing here. Now, this is another example of here's the upright and here is the other side. Now, it would be very easy for me to say upright and reverse. However, the reverse is more positive in this particular card because we look at the upright and he's very much cloistered in this tiny world, right? So I feel like the person that you are going to be coming into contact with has spent a lot of time like this, but now you are opening their horizons and changing their perspective where they're like, whoa, I thought that this world was all that exists. You are showing me the infinitive possibilities of what could be. That is the truth of spiritual partnership. When you come together and change, open each other's perspectives, and then go forth in the world and share those perspectives, right? And then finally, look at this. Again, there are no positive or negative. It's simply a perspective understanding. But we have here the Hierophant in reverse. I don't know why I said it like that. Sometimes it comes out weird. It's a weird spirit guide that rolls my tongue. I'm not even a tongue roller. I'm terrible at it. When I try to, I'm like, and I spit everywhere. But when this spirit guide comes out, it's so smooth. I don't know. It comes out of nowhere. Anyway, so here we're seeing the inner child coming back to your vulnerability and understanding that your inner child holds the key, and that inner child holds the key to your vulnerability. We also see here, so this here is the symbol that stands for the name of God, which is supposed to be, Yahweh, but unheard and unspeakable truly in the tradition of we can't hear it at its true resonance. Okay, we also have the divine feminine statuesque thing over here, and the cloven apple, right, of Adam and Eve, split down the middle. But look at this throne. Isn't it interesting how it's down here? The cracks, we see all the cracks. It's unfinished. And this stands for humanity. We are unfinished. You are unfinished. You're supposed to be falling down. You're supposed to be messing up. That is the key. That is the key. To be vulnerable in those mishaps and mistakes, to be vulnerable and loving, not only with yourself, but putting it out there so others understand that they must be vulnerable. And the first practice we have in this is being in a vulnerable relationship where we change each other's perspective, right? Where we change each other's perspective. That is this mating ritual is more than procreation. It's about evolution and understanding how to be really vulnerable with a person outside of yourself. It's a powerful thing. For many of you know, when you get really vulnerable, think of your most vulnerable relationship, someone that knows how you screw up and fall down and the things you're embarrassed about and the things you're ashamed of. If you don't have that relationship, I encourage you to find one where you can be really honest. That's why we talk about journaling. But outside of that, being really humbly vulnerable with a person does, believe me, they will love you 10 times more for your vulnerability. We are built that way. But most people come out with their scarcities and their stories as victimhood and feel sorry for me. I know, because I've done this. And we don't do it on a conscious level, it's a subconscious level. However, it immediately makes people buck up and say, well, if you do this and you do this and you do this. But if you really come out with a humble story of vulnerability, I think it'll teach you just as much as it teaches someone else. Okay? So let's pull one Isis card, please. One Isis card for my beautiful Geminis out there for 2021. Isis, what do you want to say as their message in 2021? It looks so beautiful. Moving into really seeing your story, changing your story, your reaction to it, this moderation. Moderation is reaction to a story, right? Reaction to a story. Moderation in all things. Perseverance is reaction to a story. Love is a reward that you get when you clean that mud off the flashlight. The way you saw your story and the way that you're opening up to a whole new life now because you have suddenly changed your story. You are the author. They just want you to realize that. Isis, what do you want to say for Gemini if they step with free will, into these beautiful energies of growth, transcendence, understanding, reward, love, and connection? I want to say really quickly, because I'm feeling like an energy shift in these cards, thank you to everyone who has donated to my channel. If you donate using my links, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, they are at the top of my description box. If you hit that down arrow, leave me a quick note in there. It gives you a note after your donation. Just say, I want to manifest and I want to release, okay? I include you and I say your name aloud in my new and full moon ceremonies for whatever's coming up next for you. So for instance, if you're right down in the middle of a full and new moon, you're going to get the full moon for that month and you'll get the new moon for the next month. You're still going to get 2 ceremonies. I want to make that clear. I have a Virgo. See, the Virgo is never going to be totally out of me. It's never going to be totally out of me. I have a spreadsheet and I keep it like that. If you're a moderator on my channel, you are always included in my manifestation and release rituals, but they're more generic, I will say. Spirit, Isis, please, can I get a message for Gemini 2021? Cards suddenly had a different feeling to them, like they got heavier. Okay. Beautiful. Queen of Heaven. Blessings from the Divine Empress of the Skies. Queen of Heaven. Blessings from the Divine Empress of the Skies. Stunning card. They want you to remember who you are. I'm excited. I haven't read this one in so long, and I don't really remember what it's all about. Ooh. It's rare for me to pull one of these. All these cards are below. If you like them, I give you the same links I get them from. They're in my description box. Okay. Forgot my alphabet for about 5 seconds. It's okay. I'm back. Back to human. Okay. All right. I think I can handle this without glasses. I'll get them if I need them. The Queen of Heaven, the Divine Empress of the Skies, acknowledges your feminine authority now. As a man or a woman, you have a life path of spiritual leadership to bring qualities of mercy, compassion, and wisdom into the world. Could you ever bring, my darling Geminis, qualities of mercy and compassion to the world if you hadn't experienced things which made you crave those things? That's a very big point of it happened for you rather than to you. This oracle is a confirmation of your feminine leadership and spiritual authority, whether in male or female body in this lifetime. Isis means throne. Oh, Yeah. It's bringing me back to this unfinished throne of humanity. Isis means throne. And in her presence, and I do need them, and in her presence and blessing, as divine empress of the skies, she offers initiates of the light, both men and women, great feminine spiritual power. You have both of these things within you, whether or not you've chosen a male or female skin suit in this lifetime, okay? Feminine spiritual authority occurs when power is tempered with, not tempted, tempered with mercy, wisdom, compassion, and love. It is inspired spiritual leadership through the heart and a model of power and authority that is based on empowerment rather than force or control. Isis, Queen of Heaven, calls you to ascend to the throne of feminine leadership within your own being, that you may fulfill your life mission and serve the divine feminine on this planet from a place of inner spiritual authority. You know, ending this reading and the way we began it, right? We have justice here. And I made a point to show the fallen scales of justice, which inevitably create transformation. Conflict is the birth of compassion in most cases. But we also had the chariot in the other side, the other perspective, where you see things differently now. Your perspective has changed. And then we come over here to this teacher. This is a very structured, you may have grown up this way. You may have grown up in a very structured religious environment, right? A very structured environment, a dogma which said this is the way that things must be. There is no outside this box. There is no gray in the black and white of right and wrong. But now you see the ever-growing, ever-expanding change of human, and looking back within your inner child is key. Looking back at the old dogmas used to be following this right here is the feminine statue. I cannot remember what culture it came from. I believe it's one from South Africa, and it's a deity of feminine worship of the mother, right? Feeding us constantly. And I see this huge, beautiful perspective change. And I feel like many of you, this occurred maybe last year or a few years before this, your spiritual awakening. But this is more about you putting it into effect in the world. It's kind of like the hero's journey of, I've learned all this stuff, and now I want to share it. I want to put it into real practice in my own life, right? It's kind of this thing's popping into my head. The difference between being non-racist and anti-racist. Well, a non-racist is someone who does not actively say racial slurs, and they don't see racism within their own direct lives. Like, they don't participate in it, but they also don't actively respond to racism, whether it's ignorant racism, because a lot of racism is ignorant, because we have to remember, just because there's black culture, there's also white culture, and people don't, it's ignorance, they don't know the difference. Whenever people speak racism and you come back and say, hey, just because I'm not a racist doesn't mean I should not say anything. Anti-racism means that you speak out when you hear something that identifies a person in a certain cultural landscape, right? That's the difference there. That's the point that, Gemini, you're coming into your life in, and taking racism out of it. That was just something I watched today, and it popped into my head. What I'm trying to say is, you have been through a spiritual awakening. Whoever you are out there, somebody watching has been through a serious spiritual awakening, and you have yet to take it out into the world yet completely. This is going to be the year that you do that. This is going to be the year that you actually put practices into place of moderation and perseverance. And I want to remind you that the shaman's walking with you this year. You're the only one so far who's pulled 2 shamans, okay? You got middle world, so you're right in between that whisper fart, right? That whisper fart in the middle, and luminous warrior to go out and spread what you have learned. You're not saying, I'm perfect and I'm a preacher. What you are saying is, here's what I do know and what I've learned, and I'm ready to hear what you've learned. I am a teacher and a student, and putting these things into practice in your world is going to bring an incredible amount of love and spiritual partnership. You are going to make friends that are more vulnerable and more true than friends you've had since you were a child. It's going to be such a deeper relationship that you are going to gain from these things, okay? Very powerful, transformative year if you allow it, Gemini, okay? If you allow it, remember you have free will, and that's the universal law that affects us more than we talk about it. It is the most spoken of, free will is the most spoken of universal law that is the least understood. Okay? Yes, you have free will. That means you have free will to remain in I don't know what I did with that card, that Ten of Swords. We had the Ten of Swords earlier, but I'm also looking at this here it is right next to me. To remain in these moments of victimhood and scarcity. This is also free will. I'm not saying you could have stopped each one of these awful things from happening to you. What I am saying is your reaction to them is what will decide the rest of your life. Are you going to stay in this mindset of scarcity and pain and victimhood? Because these two tens right here are the same frequency. They're simply different vibrations. Because see, these two people, they've been through it. They're looking raggedy as all hell, but they have each other. That's how they see the world. They see the world with a rainbow because they've just come through something horrific, something awful. Now you have the choice of remaining in this energy or saying, oh, I'm so lucky that happened to me. I'm so lucky that happened for me. Because otherwise I would have never known this love. Ever. And when you get here, you will see that the vulnerability that these horrific past experiences have created for you, right? Okay, Gemini. I hope that resonated for you. I love you all from the bottom of my belly up to the tip of my head. I love you all so much. I manifest this reading for you. Like and subscribe. Catch you on the flip side.